Celtic Badass of the Week showcases a different badass person of Celtic heritage each week. Those who exemplify the give no shit attitude and come out on top. They may come from our past or our present, but rest assured they come from all walks of life and legend. They are men, women, even old ladies and pirate queens. You don't have to be a muscled-up Celt in a fur kilt swinging a mighty sword. You can just be a 4'11" Welsh woman and suffragette who knows jujitsu. Most of these badasses are all too real. While some may be only legend, badass legends though. The only prerequisite for this title is Celtic blood and badassedness. Hugh Glass. Now I could probably just post a guy's picture with no description at all. Nobody would even question the fact that he was a total badass. I mean, just look at this guy. He looks like the kind of guy who would pound a bottle of Jack and eat an alligator while skinning a human alive for looking at him cross-eyed on a Tuesday. And he pretty much was. Now, early 19th century America was awesome because you could be hired by the government to be what was called a mountain man, which was essentially the official way of saying professional badass. Basically, a mountain man would get hired on by an expedition to scout out territory, kill bears, play the banjo, and give people the evil eye. Well, that's what Hugh Glass did for a living. Hugh was an Irishman raised by the Pawnee Indians who wandered the countryside, lending his services to various expeditions that required a crazy bastard capable of busting bears' heads together, collecting furs, frightening the city folk, and being a hard ass. In 1822, Hugh Glass signed on to go on a fur hunting expedition into the northern Missouri River area. Now one day, while he was out alone hunting for food, he was surprise attacked by a big-ass angry grizzly bear. The bear knocked the rifle out of Glass's hands, body slammed him Goldberg style, and started clawing the crap out of him. Now since he was the hard-ass Davy Crockett type though, Glass just started punching the thing back and hacking at it with his badass mountain man knife. There was this huge battle, and when his friends finally got there to see what was going on, they found a half-conscious Glass pinned down underneath the body of a big-ass dead bear. But the badassitude of Hugh Glass doesn't solely reside in his ability to take a grizzly bear in hand-to-hand combat. The battle had left Glass half dead, with a broken leg and huge scratches all over his body, flesh ripped from his bones. He was so messed up that the commander of the mission left two guys behind and was like, wait until he dies, bury him, and then catch up with us. So these two guys threw a bearskin coat over Glass's badly maimed body, dug him a grave, and waited around for him to die. A little while later, though, some hostile Native American warriors showed up, so the two guys grabbed Glass's equipment and bolted, leaving him behind. Well, it turned out that Glass wasn't so keen about laying there dying and all. So when he regained consciousness to find that he had been left for dead with no food, weapon, or equipment, Hugh Glass reset his broken leg, climbed out of his shallow grave, cleaned out his infected wounds, and headed out for the nearest trace of civilization. Now his trek would take him through hostile territory where he was at risk of being attacked by Indians, Native Americans, and wild animals alike. With only his bare fur, Hugh Glass crawled, walked, limped, and rafted 600 miles to Fort Kiowa on the Missouri River. Now this is probably one of the most badass survival stories I've ever heard. The guy's half dead. He can't even walk, and he manages to make it 200 miles through the treacherous American wilderness to safety. 600, not 600 miles. No, I'm going to have to redo this one. Well, it turned out that Glass wasn't so keen to die after all. After he regained consciousness, to find out that he'd been left for dead with no food, weapon, or equipment, Hugh Glass reset his broken leg, climbed out of his shallow grave, cleaned out his infected wounds, and headed out for the nearest trace of civilization. Now his trek would take him through hostile territory where he was at risk of being attacked by Indians, Native Americans, and while animals alike, With only his bare fur, Hugh Glass crawled, walked, limped, and rafted 200 miles to Fort Kiowa on the Missouri River. Now, this is probably one of the most badass survival stories I've ever heard. The guy's half dead, can't even walk, and he manages to make it 200 miles through the treacherous American wilderness to safety. Not only that, but once he's recovered, he hunts down the two guys who took his gear and left him for dead, kills one of them, and lets the other one, Jim Bridger, go when he begged for his life and sincerely apologizes for ditching his comrade. Now, Hugh Glass went on to travel with pirates. He got to go on more expeditions and continued to be continued to be badass, in true badass mountain man fashion. Although he was killed in 1833 by hostile Native Americans. This dude even has his own statue. The Hugh Glass statue is on permanent display at the Grand River Museum in Lemon. Yeah, that's right, Lemon, South Dakota. You should check it out. It's a pretty badass statue.